the cycles of life. It's natural for us as humans to seek patterns. Patterns create familiarity, and the more familiar we are, the safer we are. Those cycles can make us feel trapped, make life monotonous, repetitive. How do we break them? How do we create new boundaries for our lives to exist within? How consumable are the cycles? Round and round, the thoughts fly. You may recall, we beat the big Boris and were saved by another Boris and another Alice.
I know that song.
Everyone knows that song. Who are you? Why are you here?
I was invited by an old friend, and now I can't leave.
Then you know more than we do. 1 minute, we don't even exist. Just thoughts. And the next minute, this place.
Are you gonna let me out of here?
Down here, strangers aren't good things. How can we trust you? We don't even know what you are.
My name is Henry. I used to work here.
I honestly don't know my name. So, they call me Alice. But I'm no angel. You go back and rest. We'll talk again later. It's only for a few hours. No need to worry. I won't go far. Only up to level 6. Just stay here. Keep an eye on Henry, okay? I'll be back as soon as I can. I promise.
There's big revelations coming up here. Let me out of here.
Henry? Here. You must be hungry. Sorry, it's all we have.
Bacon soup. Can I have that? Oh. Git. Look what's on, look at that in the background. They're making a map of all the levels.
I know you're watching me. It's just a little creepy.
You're the one that writes on the walls.
We all do.
They all do.
For some poor souls down here, it's the only way they can be heard.
Souls.
But you don't want to touch the ink for too long. It can claim you. Pull you back.
Yep.
That's how I met Tom.
Pull you
I was
back.
messing with
Tom.
things I shouldn't have been.
Thomas Connor.
He was there.
Why do you call him Tom?
He just seems to respond to it.
Well, I don't think he's very fond of me.
Let me show you something. A while back, I was mapping out one of the upper levels when I noticed something reflecting off a piece of glass. I held up the glass.
Check
looked
this out.
through, and on the wall behind me was a hidden message.
Yep.
Right there, in plain sight. So I kept looking and found more and more messages everywhere in the studio. But you can't see them with your eyes. Only through this. Take a look. I don't know who's leaving them, but I think they know how to get out of here.
She will leave you for
Where does it
dead.
all lead to?
Nowhere. I followed them for a long time. Just leads me in circles.
Look at the halo above her head.
Leave this place, Henry. But maybe you are.
Alice, please let me out of here.
Is this Alison Pendle?
Tom thinks you're dangerous.
And what do you think?
think you're the hope I've been waiting for. Go to sleep. Maybe tomorrow will be better.
They wouldn't know who Henry is.
That was really stupid, Tom. You shouldn't have gone out there. Now that he's seen you, it's only a matter of time before he finds us here.
So they wouldn't know who Henry is because Henry left very early on in the studio's history. And it's likely that Joey would probably take full credit for his work regardless. That's why we've not seen his name in the archives or anything like that. If this is Thomas and Alison Pendle, we know Alison came in when a new character was introduced, replaced Susie Campbell. Thomas, he works for Gent, and he came in when the new ink machine was being built. So all this happened well into the studio's history, or rather recent history, as opposed to Henry, who left. So they would not know who he is. No. Here we go.
We can't just leave him. Not with the ink demon right outside the door.
It's found us.
What's going on?
He's coming. We have to move on. Tom, we have to let him out.
Once again, these were hiding from the ink demon. The ink demon is trying to claim souls to grow stronger, and we learned that by Susie and how she used the hearts of the ink creations with souls to her own advantage. That was preparing us narratively for what is ultimately the ink demon's objective. There's always hope. And you can work out who writes these messages pretty quickly. You draw beautifully. Take the spoon. Whoa, look at this. It's inside the vault. The vault. Let me out of here. So many questions. Escape. Don't go through the door. Trust her. Follow me. Spoon. I know the way. What door? Take the spoon. Coffin. Okay. So, already, once you start questioning this, you can see maps. You can see... don't go through that door. She's going to... Oh. She will leave you for dead. So, that statement alone already means these events have happened. Okay? Everything we're seeing has already happened. Is happening. Is repeating itself. Otherwise, that message cannot be accurate. There's no knowledge. This... Don't go through the door. What door? Take the spoon. Who knows? All this stuff. It's inside the vault. It's like a comic. Basically, the only conclusion... Go through the left door. You can already make the conclusion here that the person who wrote this is in fact us. Because we are the only persons who have occupied this cell as far as we are aware. That message says that these events are repeating. And these are messages to help us get out. Simple as that. And you can work that out right here. Yep. So why are they repeating? How is this working? Well, it's all going to tie into some of the questions I gave to you right back on episode 1. Look inside. You'll need this. How do you know I'll need this unless these events have already taken place? Oh, that's it. Boom. Pipe. What a spoon. Okay. So look at this, right? Hope. Hope is a door. Boo. There's always a reason. These are the levels. They've been mapped out, crossed out. Wash the dishes, rise. Choose to be happy. So this... Is this the surface? Is this the goal? Are they... it seems to be that this is important somehow, and that the characters are aware of it. Now, before we leave here, that was Tom, and from what I can assume, Allison. And this moment here bolsters and I believe cements the idea that what these people are copies of people's souls. Okay, so here in the we're all joined by the Joey Drew Studios employee handbook. Here is a wedding invitation. Mr. and Mrs. Frederick Pendle request the honour of your presence at the marriage of their daughter Alison to Thomas J. Connor on Saturday the 23rd of February. Joey, you and your studio brought us together. You should be with us on our wedding day. Hope you'll join us. Alison. No ill feelings towards Joey. Mr. Joey regretfully declines. But she was not able to work out that Tom is in fact Thomas Connor. And Alice doesn't seem to be aware, unless Tom knows that it's actually Alison Pendle, which makes sense in a way of why he's sticking with her and protecting her. But they would know, okay? Even the idea of someone saying, oh, they're Tom, or I'm married to a Tom, do you know what I mean? They don't have the full recollection of their memories. So if these are the same people, they are copies of the same people. Probably from when they gave their ritual item, not from any event that happened afterwards. Okay? So that to me cements the idea that these are, I think Arcadia put it best, souls extrapolated from the essence of a personal item. So it's almost like an energy that we put into the things we hold most close to us and cherish. Remember, this is fiction, alright? But one of the big questions I posed to you right at the start was, is this real? Is this the real world? Is this what the real world looks like? Or are we in fact in some kind of cartoon? Right back in episode 1 I posed that question. Is this just the game aesthetics of the real world? Or is any of this actually real? And real is the best pun I've ever done. Yeah, basically, it's more like an essence of who we are. A bond that we create. I don't think there's anything much in this hall. So there's probably a lot of questions going around your mind. Not a lot of stuff that doesn't quite make sense, which is fair. Hey, look, there they go. Leaving us. They did leave us for dead, right? The ink demon's coming, and they buggered off. We're gonna chase after them. There's something in the river. Good to know. Alright, I might die here. This one can be a bit tricky. Oh, yeah. And pipes. Oh.
Sounds like something stuck in the paddle wheel.
Huh? Oh! Ink demons here. Shit. Oh. Come on, come on, come on. If I could just barge through quickly. Bugger, bugger, bollocks. Inky pustules. Oh, that didn't sound good. Oh, hey. Come on, I've got to be nearly there. I've got to be nearly there. Yeah. Woohoo. Can't catch me, you Mickey Mouse wannabe. Ah, maybe you can. Oh, oh, yes. Now this bit is bloody annoying, but I also love it at the same time. This could be a bit of a pain, but we'll go for it. It's time to meet an old friend. Down here, we're all sinners. Remember that? The Creator lied to us. It's time to believe. Oh no, I think he might be back. We're not monsters. Sammy, calm down.
He said he saved me. He said he set me free. Now I have nothing. Nothing.
Damn. So it's really interesting. His lines of dialogue are really interesting and causes a lot of confusion. He is talking about the ink demon when he's talking about they will save us. But when he's talking about being betrayed and abandoned, I believe Sammy knows now who we are. He knows we're Henry. And we abandoned by leaving the studio and leaving him there with the rest of the studio to rot and fester under Joey Drew's leadership. And remember I said that the ink represents the past of this studio. The dark, depressing, oppressing nature of the studio. It's history coming back to consume. Knocked his mask off.
You lied to me. You said I'd be free. Well, I'm going to free you now. Free your head right off your shoulders. Sheep, sheep, sheep. It's time for sleep.
Oh, good shot. Cheers. Thank you. We've earned his trust.
That was close. You're lucky we were in the neighborhood.
Yeah, quite literally by the looks of things. This must be where he kept his followers.
Was that him?
Shacked up.
I don't think so. The Searchers and the Lost Ones built this place. Sammy must have been keeping them at bay, now that he's gone. Looks like we're in for a fight. Get ready. Watch out! Here they come!
A little trick here. Stay up on this barrel and just hit them when they come near. Otherwise you've got to keep dying. We don't like our gameplay pure anyway. Honestly, this battle gets on my bloody nerves. There's so many of them. There's a reason for that. These are the trials on the final thresholds. We know where the Ink Demon is. If you remember the message, the hidden message, it's in the vault. Alright, come on, we've got to be getting in the nitty gritty now. Bugger off!
I've never seen this many before.
Hey, you're telling me? It's a weapon. Bugger off. Alright, I think this might be it now.
We can do this. Keep fighting.
You keep fighting. I'm gonna be here all bloody day.
Never seen this many before.
Resting inky blots. That's more like it.
Get away from me!
Go die. Oh. Freedom! We've done it in a good timing as well.
I think that's all of them. But you never know where they're gonna crawl out of next. Probably best if we stay together from now on. Henry?
Once
Think you
people,
can lead the way?
now fallen into despair. They were once people, but they're not people anymore. The souls of what they once were. Literally. You bring death. Woo! Yeah! Thank you for the support. Or the recognition of my endeavours. We will struggle. We will succeed. Right, you're going first. No, you go first. Don't give me that look. Floppy-eared git. Go on, I'm not walking across that. Oh. Ah! Bastards! Got my feet wet now. Dear, oh dear. Where are we now? Administration. Attention. Cherry Tree Studios is not interested in the acquiring of new properties that are derivatives of existing characters. For best pitch, be early for your appointment. Keep pitch under 3 minutes. Have your pitch fee check ready. Yeah, because this character's not derivative of anything, is it? Well, look what hit the press today in the World Herald. Cherry Tree Studios under investigation. Financial trouble looming for animation company. Cherry Tree Studios is under investigation with former employees citing hazardous work environments, harassment, and excessive back pay, the company is also in danger of going bankrupt, according to investors. These accusations are preposterous. They're ridiculous, said Joey Drew, founder and president of the company. I vehemently deny them. They're sad lies, no doubt made by disgruntled former employees or competing studios. So there are competing studios. They're the ones I mentioned right back in Chapter 1. They're there. Our facility is state-of-the-art. Joey Drew Studios is where dreams happen, and it's where dreams are going to happen. We have no financial troubles at all. I am so certain that there's nothing wrong with our studio. I not only welcome investigators, I invite them. Reports of barricaded offices, employees locked in workspaces, and malfunctioning machinery are just crazy. And about the money, why, we just installed new technology in partnership with the Gent Corporation. We certainly wouldn't have done what we have and were going back if we were going bankrupt. In fact, we're on the verge of taking our business to the next level. I can't wait to show everyone what we have in store with our new cartoons. So, yeah, bad. Basically, administration is hell. We have reached the lowest point. So that confirms a lot of things. All of the indications that the working conditions were bad here, the subtle nuances right from the start, cemented by this this add-on here. And I think it does go to show the representation of the ink itself being the manifestation of that history, that corruption, that oppression. Oh yeah, he is. Oh, he's trying to save everything. He's desperate. He's desperate to cling on to his dream. He talks about selling dreams, but he is actually just desperate to sell his dream, but cling on to it at every advantage. Going so far as to dabble in what is clearly some sort of black magic, ritualized thing. And remember, look, we've had it confirmed now. The demon, the ink demon, has no soul. Joey Drew is not the ink demon. Okay? I want to make that clear. That is not the case. Here's today's appointments. Let's see if we can... here's Bertram Piermont, rescheduled. Not giving him the time of day. Hey, look! Frank Fontaine! Frank Fontaine! First game he played was Bioshock. Frank Fontaine. It's just a little nod. He don't actually exist here. It's just a different bloke. It's good. It's a nice reference given the gameplay similarities. Sammy Lawrence there. Mr. Drew at lunch. Thomas Connor. Gent. Right. Bringing that back up here for us so that we could say, you know, Susie at the end there. Because we know what happens afterwards. Charles and the Prodigies. I want to see them. Film Vault. Vault, remember? The vault is where the ink demon is meant to be.
Now that's interesting.
Pipes. Ah, it's flooded.
Progress report to Gent Home Office. Client, Joey Drew Studios. Although we're making progress, the client's expectations keep changing. What started as a machine to simply mold life-size figures now seems to be teetering on the edge of magic more than engineering. Although Mr. Drew remains convinced they're the same thing. The process of running the cartoon film through the machine for the figures to imprint upon themselves is going well. We've had several near successes. One weird note, the first figure ever created was a failed attempt in the likeness of the character called Bendy. Since that time, no other attempts of this particular figure have emerged. And the one that did, I don't know. There's just something unworldly about him.
Okay, you have to remember that. Because we're going to get that final nail in the coffin as to the fact that the ink demon existed at the same time as Joey Drew and did not have a soul. And probably the failure of that ultimately led to Drew going to that darker side and ultimately abandoning the whole thing when something went wrong. And you might have already worked out what went wrong. There's something in that is very important. I think I might be able to re-quote it. Because it's actually, I believe, the solution as to what is really going on here. The process of running the cartoon film through the machine for the figures to imprint upon themselves is going well. We've had several near successes. So you already put it together? The reason the world looks like this is because we are a cartoon film that has been imprinted on. We have been imprinted onto a cartoon film. But that film has consumed the abandoned studio. So rather than us going through the ink machine and how soul or whatever it is being turned into ink, we know we're not ink, and we will prove that towards the end of the game, end of this chapter. Instead, that film has consumed the very studio. Okay? So basically, I believe that the film has been run through the ink machine. Souls have been imprinted in character form. In the whole studio, right? Okay. They've been imprinted onto the film when it went through the ink machine. They are the people who gave over their essence. Okay? Then, when it spilled out, when it produced the film, the final one, it failed so many times, but the final one, the success, it consumed the very studio itself, turning the whole studio into basically a cartoon film reel. Okay? That's why it looks like this. That's why we are walking into this. The problem is Henry never acknowledges it. And the reason he never acknowledges it may have something to do with the idea of this being a cycle, like a film reel, playing over and over again. And much like the machine imprints characters and people onto the ink, onto the film, we can write onto the film itself, thus the studio being that film. Okay? So, that's essentially, I believe, what is going on here. So, it's a film reel that has been produced by the ink machine and has been printed out and consumed the studio. Then all the workers were consumed. Okay? Some of them have escaped, but they have been consumed by the ink. We've heard that phrase. You could be consumed by the ink. Okay? So while the copies, all the ritual guys had given their essence over and buggered off home, we know the working conditions here. People barricaded into offices until they were allowed to go home. They got trapped here, and then they got consumed by the ink. So over here, we have the pipes that we can print out, so we need ink.
Better get overtime for this.
So that explains why this world looks like this. This is the actual studio, but it has been consumed by ink. So it looks like the ink of a cartoon film reel. That is why it looks the way it is. That is my belief. Oh no. These bastards again. So we need ink.
Not these guys again.
Hey.
I better stay out of sight.
I think you're safe. I am there. We'll go over here first. Aha.
As a leader, I'm always steering the boat, guiding our destiny, looking at the big picture. No need for you people to worry about such complicated things. Just do whatever it is you do and trust your leader, which is me.
He's on the defensive now.
So it turns out it's my lucky day. I got to clean in some of the offices around 2 a.m. last night. And what do you think I find on one of the chairs? A big freaking chocolate cake, just sitting there, practically yelling my name. You know, I work hard. I earn my pay, every darn dollar. But you know what this company's missing? Little bit of knitting place. And this here cake, it's a flake. Hopefully no one finds out what I've done. Because if they did, I can tell you what would happen. I'm out of here.
Oh, we all know the cake is a lie. So, the cake is a lie. I don't know if this was intentional, but we believe Wally Franks was the original Boris that was turned into a monster. And I know the truth now. And when we come to the epilogue, I will explain. Because actually, it does sort of line up. I have played Portal, yes. Very important for references. To even, but it's a great game anyway. But it's referenced so many times, much like Bioshock as well.
Listen, Tommy, I know you boys over at Jet are doing your best, but I'm paying for a living attraction.
This is very important.
Weird abominations. Whatever that green thing was I saw wandering around your office, you better keep it locked.
Bendy Demon.
I realize it was a first attempt, but
So he's still around while the Bendy Demon's there.
And in response to your previous memo, if you claim that your failures are because these things are soulless,
Soulless.
we'll give them a soul.
Get them a soul.
After all, I own thousands of them.
Own thousands of them. There you go. That is the most important thing to working out what is really going on here. The Bendy Demon is not Joey Drew. That proves it right there. It didn't have a soul. It was the fact that it came out and was broken and looking like it was a demon, right? That convinced him to go about things a different way and to get souls. He's got thousands of them. He's got a whole studio of employees. While only a few were selected, eventually everyone was consumed by the ink. Consumed by the horrible, poison, oppressive nature of this man and this workplace. Timing. Oh. Yeah. Can't remember if you can get in there. So that's speaking backwards. I don't believe they are. I think it's just the ink, the inky splooges. Office of Joey Drew. What a shit office.
I know how much this part means to you, Susie. Alice means a lot to me, too. Gosh, all of my characters do. In fact, I'll let you in on a little secret. I, too, really believe my characters are more than just drawing. They're alive.
Talked about anthropomorphism.
I want people to know them as well as I do. I want people to be able to shake their hand, spend an afternoon with them, love them. Susie, I'll be straight. I'm putting together a small project, a little ceremony. What? A lot of dreams will come true. And I want you to be a part of it. I want you to bring Alice to life once again. What do you say?
So I don't believe that Susie was one of the 6 because the items don't add up. I believe that she was the first attempt at a soul being imbued, and from her mouth we heard that it failed. She came out as a husk, an inky splooge of a thing. But saying that, all of the other ritual guys, apart from 2 that came out as Boris, ended up also being inky splooges. So I don't believe she was one of the 6. I think she was patient 0. How can you say it's bad? The whole place looks the same. Who said things? Oh. Oh, you mean this looks like shit? No, I mean a man of gravitas, you'd expect a bigger room. And I mean, this was in the front lobby. I mean, it's not. Look at it. He probably even downsized in order to facilitate the ink machine and its pipes. Yeah. Now, I just think for a guy that's meant to be Walt Disney, the fact he was losing money as well, I'm not surprised if this is like downsizing from what he originally had. Here we go. Ink. Oh. They're getting closer. Oh. Oh, that's so close. Oh, shit. Bugger. I think he lost me. Woohoo. Hey. That was close. Maybe jump a bit there. Alright, we're getting back to the start here. The devil's treasure in the vault. Nice ad. Nice poster to add in at the end there. Good, that's where it is. I knew it was around here somewhere. Window's a little different. Alright. Alright, there we go. Right, we're going to put it in and get the pipes. Then we just got to go back and get the ink 2 more times and get the pipes. So a little bit of... And once again, we're seeing the free again. We've got to get free. They love to make that spiritual connection. Uh-oh. Ink Demon's here. Woo! Sister away. Okay. Well done. Well done. Don't worry, we are safe. I am in complete control. Do we need that one? We definitely need that one. Right, let's go get the ink. Being careful of the butcher babes. I haven't got myself turned around, have I? No, here it is. Oh! Butcher what? Gang. Gang. I did not say babes. I'm glad I'm not playing this. I would get so lost. Yeah, this can be quite tricky, especially trying to avoid these as well. See, another one's going to come from the other direction. look at that. He was coming around that corner, he would have seen me. But no, I'm too good. Alright, that's number 2. One more. We're going to make note of which pipe we need. Hey. Oh. There it is. Alright, it's that one. Okay. Alright, close to getting the third one now. Tension builds. Shit, he saw me. Quick, grab it. Run. That was stupid. Oh, I think I got quite fortunate with my timing there. The other two didn't. I didn't cross paths with the other two. We are playing Bendy and being killed by the Butcher Babes. Gang. Butcher Gang. Butcher Gang. That's Big Potato with the Butcher Babes. Oh, right. Did we get it? Did we get it? No, I don't think we picked it up, did we? Yes. But, we're just draining this ink and getting ready to face the Bendy Demon himself, the end game. So, are you attracted to the butchers? Well, I don't know. I like my... I was going to say, I like my girls with a bit of meat on them. Butchers cut them off, though, didn't they? I didn't call them babes. That was Big Potato called them babes. Just saying. Right, now. Does anyone know... Because this one always gets me confused. Does anyone know where the final Easter egg is to meet the creator? It's in one of these rooms, isn't it? But I don't want to be hunting around too long for it. I think it's open now. You've definitely heard babes. Well, yeah, I might have been reading a message out loud. That was probably it. Nah, I was probably reading your message, Potato, to be honest with you. Because I'm pretty sure you said, oh, that one with the gangly arm and the crane head. Oh, what a babe, I think you said. Let me have a butcher's at him again. And I was like, oh, no, leave it out with your butcher babes nonsense. And that's probably where you heard me say it. Yeah, that tends to happen. Yeah. So we'll just do a quick round to see if I can find the poster. If you recall, they're always behind a Boris poster. Ah, is this it? Hey!
What the heck is this?
Complimentary chocolates, I thank you very much. That is correct to gain the meatly. We got all 5. Whee! Alright. Oh, I can't get out. There we are. Yum. Yes, help yourself to a chocolate. Ah! Ah! Ink chocolates. Ah! No! Leave me alone, you inky goons. Huh! Nice dead end. I meant... Huh! There we go. How did I get all 3 except when I got the ink? I barely ran into one of them. Oh. Here we go, here we go, here we go. We're there. They're still behind me. But if we can get here... Come on, so close, so close. Why for an Easter egg? Oh. Tell that for 1 second, you get the shit scared. Oh dear. Woo! Salvation. There we are. We've done it. Alright, here we go. Film a vault. The vault is where the demon lies. And it's been busted open because the demon would have been put here in a high facility vault so that it could not wander about the studio. You remember the message. It had already been created and business carried on as usual. It was hidden away, tucked away, and it got out. Which we obviously know, but now the events and the timeline has started to play an effect on what we're seeing. But it still calls this place home, because this is where it consumed its ink and became bigger and more deadly. And the film reels here, a great showcase of really what this whole thing is about and what is really happening. Door seems to be locked. Here's a box. Let's open one up.
Looks like whatever was here was taken long ago.
How did you get down here?
Answer's staring us in the
Okay,
face there.
Victoria Road. You should try it.
But, oh, thank you very much.
I know where we have to go, but it's not going to be pleasant. The ink demon has something that we need. I'm going after him.
You want to go to his lair? Are you crazy? That's death.
That's where the trail seems to lead.
Well, it's probably close by. Probably through that door. But it won't be easy to open. I'll need 3 gears, a crowbar,
Forget it.
some kind of counterbalance.
Oh, I'm not going through all that nonsense to get... Oh, alright.
Well, that works too. I guess.
Cheers. Appreciate that. That arm. I love it. If they didn't consume ink, would they dry up? Are you talking about the ink demon? No, they wouldn't. The fact that they inhabit a world that's already been consumed by ink, no, they're fine. But we can see that they can kind of blend in with the walls. But they risk losing their ink form by doing so. Whereas the demon is a mass of ink in a bendy shape, and it's soulless. It's consuming souls. It's growing bigger. And we know that from the parallel between him taking the projectionist and ultimately chasing us down and why everyone's hiding, compared to Susie Campbell's Alice, who is putting people through the ink machine again and again in order to have souls printed for her to excavate and harvest the hearts of. So she's consuming much like the demon is consuming, and they create that parallel so that narratively we can work that out and draw that parallel. So it's like a record player going round and round. Pretty much. It goes round and round. The question is, how many times has this film reel already gone round? We know it isn't the first. We know it probably isn't the 10th because of all of the inky messages. She still has the halo above her head that have been laid out by what we can assume is us, what we presume is us, given the tips and knowledge only could be obtained by someone who is obviously us. Let's venture into the demon now. Get ready for this. I believe this is it. Is it this one? Okay, maybe not. Maybe that's my bad. There's something coming up in a minute. Here it is.
And here's my old desk. I wasted so much time in this chair.
You might have heard that line before. We heard that when we first entered the actual studio, because we found our desk outside the animator's room. So why have we found it again down here, and why has he repeated the line? Is it possible that this desk, the one thing and the only thing that Henry connects through throughout the entire game as being his and a remnant of his past here, his brief past, mind you, actually contains his essence? Bloody hell, right in my face you are, you scared the crap out of me more than he did. Big old nose. Stupid dog. Hey, well, wolf. Whatever. I mean, look at that, looking at me. Look at it. Oh. I'll pop him on the nose. Death. Hey, he's got a bone in his mouth. Alright. Here's the proof as to why we are not made of ink and have not been through the ink machine.
I've never seen this before. I don't see any way around. Nothing to build a raft with.
We'll have to wade across.
We can't. We're not like you, Henry. If we go in there, well, a drop of water in the ocean is rarely seen again.
They are made of
I guess
ink.
it's all up to me.
We are not.
And I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't even know why this is all happening to me.
You're here for a reason, Henry. There's always a reason. Even when you can't understand it. It's time. Set us free.
So Henry was sent here by Joey Drew to be the hero of this story. A story that appears to be repeating again and again. We are the promise of Joey Drew. The creator lied to us, right? I believe Joey promised when the ink consumed the studio, he promised to save them, or to do whatever it was that he could. And then he didn't, and they've probably been here for years and years and years. And eventually, 30 years, Joey says, so depending on when the studio went bust, must be a couple of decades, maybe just one. And finally, we get a message saying come to the studio, and we are consumed immediately by the studio itself into the film reel that has spilled out of the ink machine. And we have been cast as the hero of the story. But we are not made of ink. We have not gone through the ink machine. We entered the studio, and are probably the only person to enter the studio post it being consumed. And the reason we know we're not made of ink is because we can traverse ink without being consumed. Whereas they, like drops in the ocean, would disappear.
They could have at least given me a weapon.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Oh, what about a weapon? We can't hear you! Ah, typical. I still remember my name. Some have memories, some do not. This is the ink machine creating the models, I believe. your little legs. Oh, shit. Oh. See what I mean about traversing the ink? Well, I walked right into that, didn't I? That's fast, yeah. Fucking hell. Where is the next switch? Yeah. Oh, just missed him there. Still one more. Is that right? Is there one more? Ah! Ah! Right. I think this is a clean run down to the end of the hall. Yeah, this is the vault, yeah. Well, we've now traversed into kind of the heart of the ink machine, I believe. From the vault. The actual gent pumping station that's underneath. Who's laughing now? Uh-oh. Hey. It's your typical Spider-Man Rhino fight. Boom. Boom. Come on, you inky fiend. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Did he do it? I think he done it. It's the end. Now there is only light. The ink demon has been extinguished. But not for long. Because proof is now here. Here is the real world. So there we go. The world we were in was made of ink. It was not an aesthetic choice. It was not real, but it was in fact real. Because I believe a film reel was put through the ink machine. Oh, no, it is an ink machine. And when it developed onto the studio itself. And the ink consumed it. Not for long. And I'll tell you why not for long. Because stories are told time and time again. every time you put on a film that you've seen before, you don't think, well, this was happening all in the past when I first watched it. Because you know when, in fact, it was recorded years, possibly months before you even got to see it. But when you put a film on again, or a TV show, everything comes back to life, doesn't it? Film is a great way to bring the ones we've lost back to life, in a way, right? Everyone sings that song down here. Dear Mr. Drew, I have to say it was a big surprise getting a letter from you after all these years. I'm surprised you even remember me from back in the old days at the studio. I mostly just swept up the place. I'm good here in Florida. Lots of sun for me and the Mrs. Hope. Oh, and the Mrs. Hope you're doing very good too. Sorry to hear about the studio closing down. You all made some great little cartoons there. They were good for some laugh. Okay, I've got to wrap this up. The grandkids want to hit the beach, so I'm out of here. Wally Franks. Did you just chuckle to yourself in the first episode when you were like, but is this real? Knowing that this is just a reel. I did illustrate that it was a pun at the beginning of this episode as well, but I mean, I didn't want to spoil anything. I give you everything you need. The letter on the right. Joey, sorry it's been quite a while since my last letter. I've been busy with work at Archetypes Films. The studio ordered another sequel, so I've been spending many hours in the recording booth again. It's fun though. Tom is doing good. Thanks for asking. He's always tinkering on something. Mostly he's still upset about someone stealing one of his dusty inventions from your old studio. He'll get over it. Have a good new year, Joey. I'll send you another recipe soon. Warm regards, Alison Connor. So we now know Joey went off. So we know we were in Joey's place, right? He lived on after the studio closed down. We know it closed down and was consumed by the ink, right? So he knows what's going on there, but he's walked away. All of those employees, those key ones, the ones he got the items off of, or at least some of them, we know were in that film that we were just in, right? That story, that studio. Thomas and Alison were there, but they are not there. They are real in the real world. This is proof that what that was not them turning into ink. It was essence. What they once were in soul form being imbued with the ink. We get some designs, some Bendy Land stuff, overdue payments. Not surprised there. Here, these are storyboards for each chapter of the game we've just played through. Well, they're not running around. They're not running. The ink versions don't know that they are not the real person. They are a shadow of their former self. And they can't escape the studio. They're made of ink. They only can exist there because the whole place has now been consumed by ink, so they can kind of walk around and be sustained in a way. When I say enter the real world, it's just ink. Yeah. But the idea is, like I said, if you were to put on a video and watch, like from 30 years ago, not 30, 50 years ago, watch an old movie, right? Most of the cast is probably dead, right? But you're putting them on and they live again on screen, right? In a kind of, in a way, okay? But what if that was to come to life again? And they lived again, but only in when they were at that point it was filmed, essentially. A copy of them. So it's almost like instead of putting it on your TV, it was projected outwards from an ink machine onto the world itself, imprinted into the actual studio. And thus the characters that were consumed by the ink, the real people who were consumed by the ink, who were working there, plus the souls that were put through the machine. Alright, you ready for this?
Henry, so soon. I didn't expect you for another hour yet. Now you're just trying to impress me. But I know. You have questions. You always do. The only important question is this. Who are we, Henry?
Identity.
I thought I knew who I was. But the success starved me. Nothing left but lines on a page. In the end, we followed two different roads of our own making. You, a lovely family. Me, a crooked empire. And my road burned. I let our creations become my life. The truth is, you were always so good at pushing, old friend. Pushing me to do the right thing. You should have pushed a little harder. Henry, come visit the old workshop. There's something I need to show you.
So this was after we got the invitation, before he went to the studio. And someone's playing the reel again.
I'm here. Let's see if we can find what you wanted me to see.
So I want to make that clear. He did not walk through a door into the studio, okay? He walked through the door and went to the studio at that point in real life, but that was just saying that the real and story is being repeated again, okay? So he didn't walk through a door in his kitchen into the studio. That didn't happen. It's just a transition. Walking through doors is a passage that we do, and it's a good representation of passage into a new world. But it shows us that it is repeating. Now, if I played it again, you know that device where we could see through the glass? I will have that in my possession, and I can go around the studio and find secret messages. But I think I have a list of them here, because we're not going to play through the whole thing again. Oh, hold on. Hey, look, there's the old ink machine. Wait for this.
Tell me another one, Uncle Joey.
Tell me another one, Uncle Joey. Oh, he's creating stories of his own. He's using his studio as a playground. He wanted to bring his creations to life. He is God. Basically, it's saying that these will continue to be in this loop as long as there are people around to play the film reel, to watch the film over and over again, and bring these people back to life. Look, I'll try and put it a different way. Big Potato, right? Call you out, right? So if I filmed you, right, not in a pervy way, right? If I filmed you playing out a scene, okay, as a character, and we put that on DVD, okay, and that DVD existed for the next 300 years, right? Okay. You would have ceased to have been by then. But you still exist on that film. Does that make sense? But what if the person in the film was able to still have a conscience and be trapped within their film? That's the best way I can try to describe what is happening here. And when it says Uncle Joey, he's saying that these stories will be told again and again for the generations to come, and they are trapped in this loop. And he made Henry go there to be the hero of the story, but he's now trapped in there in that cycle as well, to forever be the hero. Why? Because Joey's studio went bust. He's bitter. For him, it's some form of revenge. perhaps, you know. So we'll have a quick run through of the hero's journey. Most narratives follow this journey, derived by Joseph Campbell. It's a common practice, and you may notice it, and you may subconsciously notice it, and it might be the reason why you think films are very boring, because they all stick to the same thing. But games, on the other hand, use them very differently. They use the hero's journey in very cool ways. So let's have a look at the character archetypes before we look at the cycle of the hero's journey. Of course, Bendy Demon, up there in the top left, he is soulless, and he is our shadow. The shadow, the aspect, represents the dark side. Villains, antagonists, and enemies. These characters often do not think of themselves as villains and serve to challenge the hero. By being a worthy opponent, they create conflict to bring out the hero's best. And of course, that is our final test, is to match him. He's going around just collecting souls, you know, consuming ink. He thinks he's doing all right, you know, he's a bit of a fella. We get in his way, enemy, right? He's a shadow, because the shadow thinks we are the shadow and they are the hero, right? He's also the shadow in another way, in an analogical way, an allegorical way. He is the shadow of the company's corrupt past and history. He is Joey Drew's hatred, bitterness, willing to tear out the hearts of anyone who came to work for him, really. He is not Joey Drew. He is soulless. That is said in the game. He does not bear a soul. He is not Joey Drew. Joey Drew exists. We've seen him. He exists outside the world, right? Now, he isn't even a copy either. That happened after this was created. It was locked in the vault. Then the creations came. Next, we have Henry Stein. That's us. The hero. You know what a hero is. A hero willingly sacrifices their needs for others. They are actively learning and doing and undergo transformation. They are flawed beings that have universal qualities. That's Henry Stein for you. I found out his name at the end, the last name. Gonna love that Bertram is constantly cross-eyed. A bit of Marty Feldman going on there. Henry is the hero, and he's been placed in literally the hero's role. He was cast into the film that is Bendy and the Ink Machine. We saw the other posters with Bendy and the Thing. We are playing the game. We are playing the film, right? And we are the hero that has been cast into this position. Next, we have Joey Drew. Joey himself. He is the herald. He is not the shadow. The shadow is definitely the Ink Demon. Okay, but he is the shadow of Joey Drew. But Joey is the herald, a character that issues challenges and announces coming change. Heralds serve to motivate the hero into action. Now, he doesn't have a direct input into doing that throughout the game, but he does instigate the journey by sending us to the place. His voice recordings actually are the most vital ones to dictate what we need to do. And kind of break down what's actually happening in the studio. Everything else kind of bolsters he's always the centerpiece. It's Joey Drew Studios. He is the centerpiece. Every action of that studio is of consequence of him. So by proxy, he is the herald as we push through the game. We have Boris. Now, okay, this is the big one. Buddy Boris, the guy that turns into the big, has himself corrupted by Alice and turned into that abomination. I said he was Wally Franks. I think that is a safe assumption to make. He is not Wally Franks. He is Daniel Lewick. Right, who is Daniel Lewick? Daniel Lewick is, in fact, a character from this novel called Bendy and the Ink Machine Dreams Come to Life. It takes place during the consummation of the studio. Okay, so the ink is starting to flow through the studios. It's consuming things, but people are still working there. They haven't been consumed. They just think it's the pipes bursting. Right? We're introduced to a few characters. The projectionist has a pivotal role in it. He has a voice and everything before he's consumed. So Sammy Lawrence. It's from this. I believe someone mentioned that plot twist. It's actually Buddy. Yeah, all this time, bloody Buddy. Yeah, that's a hell of a twist. It's a bendy twist, isn't it? Yeah, Sammy actually in this book, it's found he actually drinks the ink, which someone did mention in one of the previous chats. So, who's Daniel Luick? Well, he's kind of the protagonist of the book, and it turns out that he is actually the Buddy Boris that we find in the game, Bendy and the Ink Machine. I don't like that. Because not a lot of people even take this as canon. So if it isn't canon, then it is Wally Franks. If it is canon, it is Daniel Luick. Daniel Luick makes sense if you read the book, right? The problem I have is that it's quite clearly Wally Franks, or everything points to it being Wally Franks. He gave an item over in the ritual. He knows how to hide from the Ink Demon. He's in a kind of like janitorial live-in quarters. He knows his way around the vents. I mean, that is Wally Franks, right? Problem is, Wally Franks is a bit of an idiot. But then Buddy was... Buddy? I keep saying Buddy. Who the hell's Buddy? Oh, it's because I keep saying Buddy Boris. That's why. But Boris himself is meant to be a kind of idiot. You know, a bit of a prat. So he can be tormented and foiled by Bendy all the time. So it makes sense. But the catchphrase of Wally Franks is, in every voice recording, "I'm out of here." So maybe it was a little bit of play on his catchphrase and the fact that he was never there. Buddy Boris is actually the trickster, not a traditional trickster. The embodiment of mischief, this character desires to create change. They serve to ground the hero by pointing out their follies and serve as comic relief. Tricksters are frequently a catalyst who causes healthy transformations. Now, the reason why he is the trickster is because he is a reflection on us. He's the first person we meet and actually communicate with. We even play cards with him in the game. Not that we see that bit, but it's implied. We spend time with him. But then he's obviously turned and conformed, and we have to confront him and beat him down. But because we have to beat him, that he actually aids us in transforming into becoming the hero. He's the trickster because obviously he does kind of, not intentionally, become an enemy, but we learn and gain from it. Okay? Boris the Wolf. I'm separating that from Buddy Boris because this is the Boris that we met towards the end. This is Thomas Connor. Alice Angel, who we met with him, not the demon version, right? This is Alison Pendle. They are both the mentors, okay? They both play the same role. The mentor, a teacher or trainer who aids the hero by teaching and protecting them. The mentor motivates the hero to overcome their fears, also prepares them for the journey. They do not prepare us for the journey from the start. They prepare us for the final conflict and the journey to the demon. They protect us. They protected us from Alice Angel, the demon one, like Susie Campbell, and they also protected us from Sammy Lawrence in the final battle. So together, they create the mentor character. They are Thomas and Alice Pendle, but they are sole representations. So I don't believe they are married, but Thomas knows to protect Alice because obviously they did actually like each other and were probably dating of some kind. Alice Angel, Susie Campbell. She is, of course, the shapeshifter. We talked about in her episode, The Inner Conflict. There's no better shapeshifter than that. A shifting or unstable character, often of the opposite sex, in this case it is. They mislead the hero and act as a catalyst of change by bringing in doubt and suspense, because she guaranteed that we would ascend the studio and leave, and she obviously changed her mind, and she manipulates us throughout that chapter, and takes Boris away and conforms him into her own shape, and then she gets beheaded or whatever, axed. But yeah, she is clearly the shapeshifter. There's no real doubt about that. It is Susie Campbell. She went through the Ink Machine twice. I believe she was patient zero before the Essence ritual began. She was not one of the 6, and we'll get onto the 6 in a minute. Sammy Lawrence, surprisingly, is not one of the archetypes. The Butcher Gang, Bertram, the Projectionist, Grant Cohen, and Jack Fane all act as threshold guardians. Each one we have to pass through on our journey and overcome, and each one we learn something from and take with us to push us forward on our journey. Sammy Lawrence is an obvious one. We face him at the end, but we also have to access his area that was blocked. And so obviously his real confrontation is at the end as a guardian. He was the final threshold guardian. Butcher Gang are the obvious ones. They show up quite a lot under Alice's control. Obviously, the general enemies are also considered guardians, the inky, soulless, fleshy splodges. Bertram, of course, he was a big... He was stopping us from hitting the switches to get into the Haunted Mansion. He was that massive carousel of doom. So he was clearly a threshold guardian. The projectionist, he appears twice as a guardian, stopping our progress. Grant Cohen does not act as a typical guardian. He was already he had already expelled himself all over his office, but that is where the valve was, so we had to enter his domain and be confronted by him and understand him, then grab the valve and leave. And of course, Jack Fane was the guy we dropped the massive pallet onto under the music department. He had a valve himself. So let's talk about the process of the ink machine. So Bendy Demon was born as a failure to create life-size copies. It was soulless, and when it was birthed, it was that top left inky fleshy demon, right? And it was locked away in a vault. Then Susie was manipulated by Joey Drew to become test number 1, like test 0. So if we put a soul into the machine, what happens? And what happens is she became just a splodge, nothing. She had to go back in again to become Alice, but she did that of her own volition. Then, probably studying black magic, the symbols we've seen, Joey Drew then came up with the ritual of harnessing people's essence from items they had and using that. So rather than putting a person in and expecting a soul to come out, because Susie was an actual person put into an ink machine, right? These were not. These 6 were gave items over to Joey one Christmas, and then the soul was extracted, the essence was extracted and put into the machine and imprinted onto the film. The film being the ink that pours out of the machine and consumes the studio. The film is the actual studio itself. Those 6, I believe, were Thomas Connor, the engineer, Wally Franks, the janitor. He was the person who gave over the item. We know that. So his soul is there, but he's not there. He's out of here because it turns out it's Daniel Lewick. So this is a real... Yeah, it makes sense. Wally says he's the one who was asked to hand over an item. So unless he didn't, but it's very easy for Joey to just grab an item. So Sammy Lawrence, obviously, is the music, gave over a disc. Sean Flynn, you may not remember Sean Flynn, but he was the merchandise guy. Grant Cohen, obviously, is the financier. We found him melted, having expelled his inky body all over the walls. He did the books. And I believe Henry, the animator, not of his own volition, had his essence taken, and I believe that is why he has the desk. I believe it was the desk itself that it was taken from, and the reason it shows up twice because it's been reprinted by the machine. Okay, because it's been put through. I believe that Henry was the 6th one, but that's why his desk was kept. Right, that's why. So Joey Drew basically took the item to use his essence. So it is possible that the plan was for Henry to be replicated and he could still be in there somewhere. We know the Henry we play as is human who entered, so maybe that failed as well. I don't know. I believe that the pot of ink does represent Henry. So his essence is there. It doesn't necessarily mean that he came out of the machine. Because Sean Flynn we never saw either. But no other people would have been able to at least initiate the ritual, this essence ritual. The hero's journey, this one's quite quick. This is the actual hero's journey. We're just going to follow it round. So the call to adventure is where Joey asks Henry to step into his projection. Obviously, I'm spoiling it now. He don't know that that's what he's walking into. The supernatural aid, ink characters emerge to aid. So obviously we see Boris initially... aid us, and then obviously Thomas and Alice at the end. The thresholds that we have to pass, that's when all the guardians start to appear chapter after chapter, but really the journey, like our destination, isn't really outlined until we get down to the death and rebirth, because we go through Alice Angel's errand quests. These are the challenges and temptations. We're tempted with freedom. we get down to the betrayal. The revelation is the betrayal. When Alice says, we're not going up, we've passed all the challenges, but nope, you're going back down to hell. And the lift goes down. The rebirth is, the death is the lift collapse. The rebirth is when Alice and Tom rescue us and then give us our final quest of taking out the ink demon itself, basically. And fighting back and trying to reclaim our freedom. That's the way the transformation happens. So everything has been built into this idea of us becoming the hero. We've been cast into the studio by Joey to be the hero, but we have to learn to become the hero. And it takes all these pitfalls and thresholds to pass. The threshold, very important. The door, right at the end, when we go back into the studio from Joey's apartment, is a threshold, right? And we passed through it, just like we're entering another world. It's not a one-to-one. You don't open that door and walk into the studio. It's showing us that once we stepped out of Joey's apartment and we entered the studio, we were trapped forever in the loop. That's what that represents. That's what it's showing us. Our atonement is, of course, atoning for Joey's sins. The representation of the demon and all the ink still sitting there manifesting in a locked-away studio. It is the representation of his sins. And we are to conquer that by giving it an end. And we return because the literal cycle of return happens. We go back to being the hero, maybe with acquired knowledge, and we repeat the pattern again and again and again and again. And some of the messages Henry, who we play as, leaves along the way include tally marks on the wall. When we first enter, so you know that hallway we start in, there's actually tally marks there of how many times he's passed through and gone through the film again and again. Henry's desktop says he was born here. She's heartless in front of the sacrifice Boris, implying that Alice was the person who died, Susie, rather. Joey lied to us, so confirming that Joey, as the creator, we always heard the creator lie to us. It's in fact Joey. And I believe he said that they will be free. They will all be saved from their inky demise. So he sent us as the hero to save them, but it's just a loop. The coffins actually have names on them. They have Norman, Grant, Bertram, Lacey, who was Bertram's assistant. Consumed by the ink, I'm assuming. Once the ink took hold of the studio. Who am I now? Susie. There's one for Susie as well. I like this one. His dream, my effort. So, Joey's dream, all my effort. I like that. Bendy was created and advised by Henry as a partnership. Once Henry left, from the frustration of working with Joey and the conditions of his working environment, Joey took full credit. Henry doesn't exist. He's not on any documents or anything. His desk still exists, but it doesn't have his name on it or anything. The only diary he has that he recorded is hidden away and is not to be not allowed to be accessed. So he's not in the vault. He's not in the archives. He's nothing. And there you go, that is the hero shade, and that is the end of Bendy and the Joy of Creation. And you can see how, much like Bioshock, how very similar it is in terms of the character archetypes and the hero's journey. Hello, I am Soul, and thanks for watching Bendy and the Joy of Creation. I hope you're enjoying it, and maybe you enjoyed it enough to perhaps, just perhaps, give it the old subscribe here on YouTube, and perhaps go and see me on Twitch and all those other outlets, let's say. All the links down below. I really do appreciate it. I've got to be honest with you, I really do appreciate it. You got to the end of that video. I hope you enjoyed it and whatnot. Come see me live. We hang out on Twitch all the time. You don't get all the edits. You get all the extra stuff. Thanks very much. I hope you come back and see it again. You've got to hit that bell. Because of the notifications. You never can trust it, really. So, always best. But there you go. Thank you very much.